I woke to the sensation of being watched, not the casual kind you feel on a subway, but the primal, predatory kind that locks your spine and shallows your breathing. The jungle around me dripped with moisture, every leaf the size of a dinner plate, every shadow deep enough to hide something with teeth. I didn't know how I'd gotten here. One moment, I was hiking the Appalachian Trail, and the next, I stumbled through a shimmering tear in reality that swallowed me whole and spat me out into this nightmare of twisted vegetation and alien constellations overhead. The sky was wrong. 3 moons hung in a purple-black expanse, casting everything in shades of silver and violet. I was still wearing my hiking boots and fleece jacket, but none of it mattered here. I was so utterly out of my depth that my hands shook as I pushed aside a curtain of vines. That's when I heard it. A sound like silk dragged across stone, rhythmic, deliberate, getting closer. Every instinct screamed at me to run, but something deeper told me that running would make me prey. So I stood there, a 32-year-old insurance adjuster from Nashville, and waited for whatever was hunting me to show itself. She emerged from darkness like a nightmare made flesh, and God helped me. She was beautiful. Her body was humanoid, but perfected beyond human limits. Every curve and angle designed for both allure and lethality. Her skin was deep obsidian, smooth and gleaming, marked with intricate silver patterns that seemed to move as she breathed. Her face stopped my heart. Sharp, elegant features with high cheekbones and full lips the color of dark wine. Eyes that glowed with inner amber light, slit-pupilled like a cat's, fixed on me with intensity that felt like physical pressure. Her hair cascaded down her back in thick silver-white waves, and atop her head sat a crown of bone and black metal twisted into shapes that hurt to look at directly. She wore almost nothing, just bands of dark leather and metal, and when she moved, her body shifted between human and something else, muscles rippling, claws extending and retracting, a tail swishing behind her like a living weapon. She was Panther and woman merged into something more terrible than either alone, and she was smiling at me. "You reek of fear," she said, her voice a purr that resonated in my chest. The language was nothing I'd ever heard, yet somehow I understood every word. Good. Fear keeps the blood sweet. I tried to speak, but my throat had locked shut. She circled me slowly, deliberately, and I realized with cold horror that I was being appraised like meat at a market. Her nostrils flared as she inhaled my scent, her tail brushing against my legs, and everywhere she touched felt like fire and ice at once. "You don't belong here," she continued. "The veil between worlds was not meant to tear, yet here you stand, human, fragile, lost." She reached out one clawed hand and traced a line down my cheek, gentle enough not to break skin, but firm enough that I felt every point. "I should kill you now, end you, before you become a problem for my people, before the other castes catch your scent and start a war over who gets to claim you." "Claim me?" I finally managed to choke out. Her smile widened, revealing teeth too sharp, too many. "You truly are innocent. How refreshing." She leaned in close, her breath hot against my neck. "In this world, human, there are predators and prey. The Panther caste stands at the apex. We rule the night jungle. We command the shadow paths. We answer to no one save our queen. And I am Zareth, first huntress of the Shadow Vale, daughter of the Moon Throne, bearer of 43 kills in the blood trials." She pulled back to look at me again. "And you are nothing, a lost thing, a mistake. Yet there is something about you." Before I could process her word, she grabbed my wrist with impossible strength and began dragging me through the jungle. I stumbled behind her, trying to keep up, branches whipping at my face as we moved faster than any human should through terrain this dense. She navigated with perfect grace, sometimes dropping to all fours to bound over fallen logs, her form becoming more feline with each movement. We reached some kind of settlement where buildings emerged from the jungle itself, organic structures that looked grown rather than built, their walls living wood and stone pulsing with bioluminescent veins of blue and green. Other figures moved through the shadow, all like her, panthers walking as humans, humans flowing into panther forms, beings that existed in the space between. They stopped to stare as Zareth dragged me through their village, their eyes gleaming, their whispers like rustling leaves. We entered a structure larger than the rest, its entrance flanked by pillars carved with images of great cats devouring human-shaped figures. Inside, the space opened into a hall lit by floating orbs of cold fire. At the far end sat a throne of black stone and silver metal, and upon it lounged a figure that made Zareth look almost tame. The queen was massive, easily 8 feet tall, even seated, her body thick with muscle beneath skin so dark it seemed to absorb light. Her crown was a magnificent horror of bone spikes and obsidian shards, and her eyes burned with ancient fire. "Zareth, my daughter, you bring me a human. Explain, before I assume you've lost your mind." Zareth bowed and pushed me forward. "Mother, I found this one near the threshold point. He came through a tear. The barriers are weakening again." The queen's eyes narrowed, focusing on me with a tension that made my skin crawl. She rose and descended the steps, each footfall echoing like a drumbeat. When she reached me, she grabbed my face in one massive hand, examining me like a jeweler appraising a stone. "Human, do you know what you are?" I shook my head. She released me and stepped back. "You are a catalyst, a spark that could ignite wars between the castes. Already I can smell the wolf lords catching your scent on the wind." She turned to Zareth. "You should have killed him." "I know," Zareth replied, conflict in her voice. "I meant to. I had my claws at his throat, but I couldn't. Something stopped me, something I've never felt before." The queen's expression shifted to something almost like fear. "Show me his mark." Zareth moved behind me, and I felt her claws tear through my jacket and shirt, exposing my back. I heard gasps from the other panthers who had gathered. "By the first shadow," the queen whispered, "he bears the Solare mark, the sacred pattern. But that's impossible. No human has carried that mark for 1,000 years. What does it mean?" I asked. "What mark?" The queen walked around to face me again, uncertainty in her eyes for the first time. "It means, human, that you are not here by accident. You were called, summoned by fate, by prophecy, by something older than my bloodline." She looked at Zareth with an expression I couldn't read. "And it means that my daughter cannot kill you, even if she wanted to. The mark binds you. You are her sacred mate, chosen by powers we do not fully understand. To harm you would be to violate the oldest laws of our kind." The words hit me like physical blows. Mate, sacred, bound. I looked at Zareth and saw my own shock reflected in her face, mixed with rage or desire, or both. "No," she said firmly, "I reject this. I am the first huntress. I choose my own path. I will not be bound by ancient superstitions." The queen's voice turned cold. "You think you have a choice? The mark has appeared. The bond has formed, whether you accept it or not. By the next new moon, you will be unable to stray far from him. By the following moon, his death will mean yours. This is the price and the gift of the Solare." Zareth's claws extended fully, her body rippling with barely controlled fury. But instead of attacking, she turned those burning eyes on me, hatred mixed with something far more dangerous. "Want? Then I will make him understand what he has cost me," she hissed. "I will make him wish he had died in the jungle." She grabbed me and dragged me from the hall, plunging back into the jungle until we reached a structure built high in the branches of an enormous tree. She threw me through the entrance, and I landed hard on a floor of woven vine. When I looked up, she was blocking the only exit, her form fully transformed, a massive panther with silver patterns glowing along her frame. "Understand this, human," she growled. "I did not choose you. I do not want you. You are a chain around my neck, a weakness my enemies will exploit. But the bond is real. I can feel it already, like hooks in my chest, pulling me toward you. I want to protect you, to keep you close, to mark you as mine, and I hate you for making me feel this way." Tears streamed down her face, tears of pure, frustrated rage. "I'm sorry," I said. "I didn't mean for any of this. I just want to go home." Her laugh was bitter. Home. The threshold that brought you here has closed. The way back is sealed until the next convergence, which is 3 years away. You are stuck here, bound to a woman who would rather see you dead than accept what fate has decreed. She moved to a window and stared out at the alien moon. But I cannot let you die. So I will keep you alive, human. I will teach you to survive. And perhaps, in time, I will even forgive you for existing. The days that followed were brutal education. Zareth taught me survival with all the gentleness of a drill sergeant. She showed me which plants were safe and which would dissolve my insides. She taught me to recognize different predators, from wolf lords who hunted in packs to serpent queens whose venom could paralyze with a single drop. But more than survival skill, she taught me about this world itself. The realm was called Umbravel, the shadow between, a dimension that existed where light and darkness met. The dominant species were the shifted ones, beings between animal and human. The Panther caste ruled the night jungle. The wolf lords commanded the northern mountain. The serpent queens controlled the southern swamps. The bird princes owned the sky cities. And there were others, dozens of smaller castes, each with their own powers and ancient grudges. Humans existed here once, Zareth told me one evening. Long ago, before the Great Sundering, they wielded magics that could reshape reality itself. But they grew too arrogant. The shifted ones rose up and destroyed them, drove them to extinction, or back through the veils to other worlds. Only legends remain. And the prophecy. What prophecy? I asked. Her amber eyes reflected the firelight. That one day, a human would return, bearing the Solare mark, and their arrival would herald either the salvation or destruction of Umbravel. Every caste has their own interpretation. Some believe the marked human will restore the old powers. Others think the human is a sacrifice to strengthen the shifted ones. Still others believe the human is a weapon to be controlled and aimed at enemies. And what do you believe? She was silent for a long time. I believe you're just a man, lost and afraid, caught up in something neither of us understand. But the mark on your back is real, and the bond between us is real, and that means your fate is tied to mine. That night I dreamed of home, of my small apartment in Nashville, of my boring job and ordinary life. I would have given anything to have that boredom back. When I woke, Zareth was already packed and waiting. The journey took 3 days through territories I hadn't known existed. We passed through the crimson meadows where carnivorous grass snapped at our ankle. We skirted the glass desert where sand had been fused into reflective surface that showed not your reflection, but your deepest fears. We crossed the river of whisper where water spoke in voices of the dead. And everywhere we went, I felt eyes watching. Other shifted ones tracking our progress, never approaching, but never leaving. Zareth moved with constant vigilance, exhausting herself, keeping me safe. I noticed that as days passed, her hand unconsciously reached toward me, stopping just short of touching. The bond was affecting her more than she wanted to admit. The gathering grounds were a vast amphitheater carved from living stone, spiraling down into the earth. At the bottom was a circular arena where sand looked stained with old blood. Around the edges, thousands of shifted ones had gathered, their eyes glowing, their voices cacophonous. Zareth led me to the section reserved for the Panther caste, and I felt every eye follow our progress. I saw wolf lords with fur like storm clouds. I saw serpent queens draped in shimmering scales. I saw bird princes with wings of metallic feathers, and dozens of other forms, chimeras and nightmares made flesh. At the center stood 5 thrones with the leaders of the major castes. Zareth's mother was there. Beside her sat a massive scarred wolf lord, a coiled serpent queen, a bird prince that was more raptor than human, and something that seemed to shift between forms too quickly to track. The Council of 5, Zareth whispered, the most powerful beings in Umbravel. This is not good. A horn sounded, and silence fell. The wolf lord stood. We are gathered to judge the human who bears the Solare mark, the one whose presence threatens the balance we have maintained for 1,000 years. Bring him forward. Zareth stiffened, every muscle tensing. Go, she said quietly. I will be watching. I descended into the arena on shaking legs. When I reached the center, I stood before the five and forced myself to meet their eyes. The Panther Queen spoke first. Human, you stand accused of no crime, yet your presence is a crime against the natural order. Speak, tell us who you are and why you should be allowed to live. My name is Marcus Webb. I'm from a world called Earth. I'm nobody important, just a regular person in the wrong place. I don't want to cause problem. I just want to survive and find a way home. The Serpent Queen laughed like wind through dead leaves, such simple desire. Yet the mark you bear is neither simple nor innocent. Show us, human. I hesitated, but Zareth called down, do it. They will take it by force if you refuse. Slowly, I removed my torn jacket and shirt, turning to show my back. A pattern of intricate lines and symbols glowed with their own light, covering most of my back, pulsing with my heartbeat. The assembled shifted ones gasped. The Solare mark indeed, the bird prince said, untainted, complete, exactly as the prophecy described. The shadow being spoke then, its voice like many overlapping. The question is what we do about it. The human cannot be allowed to wander freely. He must be controlled, directed, or eliminated. He is bound to my daughter, the Panther Queen said firmly. By sacred law, he is under the protection of the Shadow Caste. The Wolf Lord snarled, sacred law, written when the world was different. The bond can be broken with the right ritual. Once broken, the human becomes fair game. Or we could simply kill them both, the Serpent Queen suggested pleasantly. Eliminate the human and the one bound to him. No prophecy, no problem. Before I could react, Zareth was in the arena, having leapt the impossible distance. She landed between me and the council, her body fully transformed, eyes blazing with protective fury. You will not touch him, she growled. Bond or no bond, mark or no mark, I claim him as mine. Any who wish to challenge my claim may face me in the arena here and now. The amphitheater erupted in chaos, but the shadow being spoke and silence fell. A challenge has been issued. By ancient laws, this must be settled through trial. Zareth, you claim the human as yours by right of finding and bond. Does any here dispute her claim? A massive warrior with fur like polished steel rose from the wolf section. I dispute it. Karvesh of the Blood Fang Pack challenges for the right to claim the human. A male serpent with scales of deepest blue stood. Thessar of the Venom Court also challenged. More figures rose from every section. Warriors and hunters and killers eager to fight for the right to claim me. I counted at least a dozen before I stopped counting, realizing Zareth would have to fight them all. The trial of claims will begin at sunset tomorrow, the shadow being declared. Zareth will face each challenger in single combat until she is victorious or until she falls. If she wins, her claim is absolute. If she falls, the human becomes property of whoever defeats her. The being's tone darkened. And if Zareth refuses, both she and the human will be executed immediately. Zareth shifted back to human form, claws still extended. I accept the terms. Tomorrow at sunset, I will prove my claim. And when I'm done, the sand will remember why the Shadow Caste is feared. We were given quarters near the arena, guarded to keep others out. Zareth paced like a caged animal. You don't have to do this, I finally said. I'm not worth dying for. She stopped and turned those burning eyes on. There is no other way. The challenge has been issued. My pride, my honor, everything I am demands I fight. And even if I could walk away, the bond wouldn't let me. Can't you feel it? I realized I could. A pulling sensation in my chest. A connection that grew stronger every day. I can feel it, I admitted. But why me? Why us? She moved closer, sitting beside me. The Solare mark appears on those chosen by the first light, the original power that created Umbraveld. It marks someone as a bridge between worlds, between species. The ancient humans who bore it were powerful beyond measure. Her hand touched the mark on my back, and I felt a shock of electricity. She gasped, feeling it too. The bond makes me want things I've never wanted before, makes me care about someone other than myself, makes me willing to die to protect you. She withdrew suddenly, standing as if burned. I hate it. I hate losing control, but I will fight tomorrow, Marcus. I will fight and I will win, because the alternative is unthinkable. Sunset came too quickly. The amphitheater filled with shifted ones, hungry for blood and spectacle. Zareth and I stood in the arena center, surrounded by 12 challengers representing their caste's best warriors, the shadow being spoke. The trial of claims begins now. Combat will be one-on-one until Zareth falls, or until all challengers are defeated. Let the first challenger step forward. Karvesh moved into position, his lupine face split in a savage grin. I will enjoy breaking you, little cat, and when I'm done, I'll take your human and teach him what it means to belong to the Wolf Lords. Zareth said nothing, but her body shifted into full panther form. She was smaller than Karvesh, built for speed, where he was built for raw power. They circled each other, and then Karvesh lunged. The fight was brutal and swift. Karvesh came like a freight train, trying to overwhelm with sheer force. But Zareth slid beneath his charge, raking claws across his exposed belly. Blood sprayed, and Karvesh howled. He spun and caught her with a backhand that sent her tumbling. She rolled and came up in a crouch, blood dripping from a cut above her eye. They charged again, meeting in fury of teeth and claws. Zareth fought with savage grace, using her size to advantage, staying mobile, striking and retreating, bleeding Karvesh from dozens of cuts. But when he finally connected fully, catching her and throwing her against the arena wall, I heard bones crack. She slid down, leaving a blood smear, and for a terrible moment, I thought it was over. The bond screamed in my chest, flooding me with her pain. But she rose, slowly, impossibly, her body broken, but her will intact. The bond, someone whispered. She's drawing strength from the bond. The human is anchoring her. Karvesh rushed again, but this time Zareth was ready. She dropped flat as he charged, then launched upward, claws finding his throat. They hung locked together. Then Karvesh dropped to his knees. "I yield," he gasped, and Zareth released him, stepping back. Her body was already beginning to heal, wounds closing as we watched. "Next," she snarled. Thesser the serpent was different, patient and cunning. He moved like water, flowing around attacks, and his venom was devastating. The first time he bit her, Zareth's entire left side went numb, her leg collapsing. She rolled desperately, but he struck again, fangs sinking into her shoulder. More venom pumped in, and her movements became sluggish, uncoordinated. The Tsar circled slowly, savoring victory. The mighty Zareth, brought low by simple chemistry. "When I claim your human, I'll keep him in my queen's pools, use him in our rituals, drain him slowly of whatever power that mark holds." But he'd made a mistake. He'd taken too long gloating, given Zareth precious seconds to adapt. The bond was doing something strange, my body helping her process the venom, my human physiology that had never encountered such toxins becoming an anchor point for her to draw upon. When Thesser struck again, she was ready. Her good hand shot out, catching him behind the head and pulling him close. Then she bit down on his neck, her panther teeth finding the junction between skull and spine. Thessar thrashed and screamed, but she held on until something vital gave way. "I yield," he whispered, and she moved on. The fights continued as darkness fell, the arena lit by floating orbs of cold fire. Zareth fought with determination bordering on supernatural, refusing to fall no matter how damaged she became. The bird prince she brought down by grabbing his wing mid-flight and slamming him into the ground. The bear shifter she defeated through cunning, targeting his knees until he couldn't stand. But each victory cost her. By the 8th challenger, a lynx shifter with blades for claws, she was covered in blood and barely standing. The bond was keeping her alive, pulling life force from me to sustain her, and I could feel myself weakening. The lynx was fresh, fast and cruel. She danced around Zareth, cutting and retreating, slowly dismantling her through 1,000 small wounds. When the lynx went for the killing blow, driving blade claws toward Zareth's heart, I screamed, and something happened. The mark on my back erupted with light, brilliant and blinding, flooding the entire arena. Power surged through the bond, raw and primal, and I felt Zareth draw on it like a drowning person gasping for air. Her body blazed with the same light, wounds sealing instantly, exhaustion burning away. When the light faded, she stood transformed, somehow more than she had been, her silver patterns glowing like molten metal, her eyes burning with inner fire. The lynx barely had time to register what happened before Zareth moved faster than thought and struck once. The lynx went down and didn't rise. The crowd had gone silent, stunned. Even the Council of Five leaned forward, and Zareth stood there, looking at her own hands in wonder and fear, feeling the power coursing through her from the bond, from the mark, from me. The prophecy, someone whispered. The human is awakening. The remaining 4 challengers looked at each other and one by one bowed out, refusing to face whatever Zareth had become. The trial was over. She had won, the shadow being rose. The trial of claims is concluded. Zareth has proven her right to the human, by blood and by power. Her claim is recognized by the Council of Five and by all assembled castes. None may challenge or interfere henceforth. The being paused. But know this, the prophecy has begun to manifest. The human's power is awakening, and with it comes great danger to all of Umbraveld. The next convergence approaches. When the barriers between worlds grow thin, you have 3 years to prepare for what comes, to understand what you are and what you must become. The being's tone became darker. For when the convergence arrives, forces from beyond will come seeking the bearer of the Solari mark. Armies of light and darkness, angels and demons, gods and monsters, all drawn by the power you represent. And on that day, you will make a choice that will determine the fate not just of Umbraveld, but of all connected realms. Choose wisely, for there are those who would see you become humanity's savior, and those who would make you its doom. With that, the council departed, leaving Zareth and me alone in the arena center. She slowly returned to human form, the supernatural light fading, and walked toward me on unsteady legs. When she reached me, she collapsed, and I caught her, holding her up. "We're bound now," she whispered. "Truly bound, not just by prophecy, but by choice. I fought for you, Marcus. I nearly died for you, and I would do it again." She looked up at me, her amber eyes meeting mine, and in them I saw something that terrified me more than any monster. Devotion, possessiveness, the beginnings of something deeper. "You're mine now," she continued, "my sacred mate, my bonded human, my responsibility, and my curse. And when the convergence comes, when these forces arrive seeking to use you, they will have to go through me first." She pulled me closer, her tail wrapping around my waist, her claws gently resting against my back where the mark burned. "But until then, we have 3 years. 3 years to understand this bond, this power, this destiny we've been forced into. 3 years to prepare for the war that's coming." Her lips brushed against my ear as she whispered, 3 years to decide if you're going to be my salvation or my destruction. Because I swear to you, Marcus Webb, one way or another, you have already changed everything, and there is no going back to who we were before. In the distance, thunder rolled across the alien sky, and I felt the mark pulse with otherworldly heat. Somewhere beyond the veils between worlds, something ancient and terrible had taken notice. The prophecy was in motion, the pieces were moving, and I stood at the center of a storm that would either reshape reality or tear it apart. Zareth's grip tightened on me, possessive and protective, and I realized my fate was no longer my own. I belonged to her now, bonded by forces beyond understanding, tied to a dangerous and beautiful creature who had fought a dozen warriors just to keep me. And as terrifying as that was, some part of me whispered that maybe she belonged to me too. The Shadow Panther Queen had hunted me across impossible distances, driven by prophecy and fate. She had decided I was her sacred mate, had claimed me before the most powerful beings in Umbraveld, had bled and nearly died to make that claim real. Now came the harder part, learning to live with that choice, learning what it meant to be bound to someone so different, so deadly, so utterly inhuman, yet compellingly real, and preparing for the day when the barriers would fall and everything we'd built would be tested by forces that made tonight's trial look like a children's game. The storm was coming. The convergence approached, and somewhere in the darkness, ancient powers were already moving their pieces into position, ready to claim or destroy the human who bore the Solare mark. I just had to survive long enough to figure out which side I was supposed to be on, or if there even were sides in a war this old, this vast, this inevitable. Zareth's breath was warm against my neck as she leaned her full weight against me, trust and exhaustion mixing in equal measure. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new threats, new revelations about what we were becoming together. But tonight, in the empty arena under alien moons, we were simply two beings bound by fate, trying to understand what we meant to each other and what we would become when the shadows finally parted and the true battle began.